was there, Nalanda was there, Vallabhi was there. So these universities, all these were multidisciplinary universities, and these universities of that time attracted students from all over the world. Uh, they came here as a faculty, they came here as a student. So in that time, this was really a Vishwaguru. But now we have lost our position of Vishwaguru, and I will discuss about this thing later. Instead of being the importer of students from other countries, we are net exporter of the students to other countries. India is attracting only less than 50,000 foreign students and sending more than 3 lakhs. Exact figure, old figure is 3 lakh, but someone in some lecture, someone gave me this latest figure and was saying that 7 lakh students are migrating every year from country. So we have 50,000 students, overseas students in India. On the other hand, we are sending 7 lakh every year. So around a million students are enrolled for higher education in foreign universities. And this you can assume that leads to transfer of money from our country to other countries. So we already, so this foreign exchange is already in great demand, and a lot of money in foreign exchange going abroad to finance the higher education of Indian students in overseas universities. So the second objective is to India to become the Vishwaguru, and third is that we all are students of political science, and we know you all know that importance of power in political science. As we say that political science is the science of power. So here, by education, by making India a popular destination for higher education, India also aims at increasing, enhancing its soft power. Because if overseas students are coming to India and they are studying here, so naturally they will be influenced by our value system, our culture, and etc. So it will lead to in the rise in the soft power of the country. So because of all these reasons, India, the national education policy argues for internationalization of higher education. Here, in internationalization of higher education, the profit motive has nowhere has been mentioned. So when India talks about the internationalization of higher education, the profit motive is not there. If profit India is generating, if Indian economy is getting some benefit, so that is a extra benefit to Indian economy. But generating revenue, making profit, etc., is not the objective of internationalization of higher education. The internationalization of higher education aims at improving the quality of higher education in this country, making India a popular destination, making it a Vishwaguru again, and increasing the soft power of this country. Because internationalization of higher education will bring in the more competition, and in this competitive atmosphere, you all know that quality will improve. Because where there is a stiff competition to capture the market, naturally the quality will improve. So this is internationalization of higher education, where it is a state-driven process, where not in market-driven, and where profit motive is secondary. The primary motive is the soft power, the Vishwaguru, etc. Now coming to the globalization, as we all know that globalization has been defined, the unrestricted, unhindered movement of the goods, services, products, ideas, technology, and people. So these unrestricted movement of goods, services, products, technologies, capital, finance, money, etc., has been described as globalization. We can also include in this list the education also. So education. So when we talk about the globalization of higher education, it means that there should be unrestricted movement of the higher education. It is also a service, the unrestricted movement of higher education. And this fact has been was on the agenda of GATT and later on WTO. GATT itself accepted health and education as a commodity. So, like any commodity, health and education both are a commodity. Since education is a commodity, so like any commodity, it can be traded, it can be sold, it can be bought, it can be imported, it can be exported. So GATT, the predecessor of WTO, has accepted that education is a service, is a product which can be marketed, which can be bought and sold. So the commodification of education has happened under the GATT framework, and the GATT has been replaced by WTO. So the WTO has reiterated the position taken by the GATT, and WTO also treats education as a commodity, and like any commodity, it can be bought and sold. And if education is a commodity, and if it can be bought and sold, so naturally it is a market-driven process. So if it is a market-driven process, so market always relies upon profit motive. Remove the profit motive, the market will not function. So the basis of the market is profit motive. So when we talk about the globalization of higher education, so we mean that how through education the profit can be made, how revenue can be generated. So the main focus of globalization of higher education is not providing some kind of useful service to the society, to the nation, etc. It's only and only objective is to generate revenue, to generate profit, so that people can be persuaded to make investment in education. Because if in globalization of higher education, the education also becomes a profitable venture, and the entrepreneurs will make investment in this higher education sector, so that they can make the profit. So this is the subtle distinction between the two: the internationalization of higher education and globalization of higher education. Internationalization of higher education is a state-driven process where the main objective is the power, soft power, the prestige, image of the country, etc. Uh, and their education becomes also the part of the public diplomacy, etc. And when it is the globalization, so in globalization, the market forces becomes active, and here the only and only objective of higher education is how to make investment profitable, and how entrepreneur can be persuaded to make more and more investment in the higher education sector, and which can be a profitable venture for them. So this is a difference between the internationalization of higher education and globalization of higher education. Now coming to these two, after making this distinction, I will use these two terms as interchangeable terms. While talking about the globalization of higher education, so there are four important movements are there, four important mobility is there. So first is the mobility of the student, second is the mobility of the faculty, third is the mobility of the institutions, and fourth is the mobility of the courses, curriculum. So these are the four mobility, these are the four verticals you can say through which this globalization of higher education is happening. So firstly, I will talk about the mobility of the students. As per UNICEF data, more than 10 million students cross borders for higher education. Yeah. So they cross their national boundaries and go to some other country for higher education. And as per UNICEF, this figure is more than 10 million. Means more than crore are every year going to other countries there. So crores of students, millions of students have left their home country for higher education to other countries. Uh, India, I have already discussed that we receive only less than 50,000 students for higher education in this country, but we are sending 7 lakh students every year to other countries. If you look at the global picture, how this movement of students is happening, then the largest exporter of this student, the largest sender of this student is not India, it is China. So China send largest number of the students overseas for higher education. India comes second, and then other countries are the South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries, West Asian countries, African, etc. comes in that order. So India and China both are the leading exporter of Indian, so leading center of the India of Indian and Chinese students to other countries for higher education. Uh, Over the years, now the the trajectory for China is downward. So now the Chinese students are going abroad for higher education is less number, but the Indian trajectory is still upward. So Indian students in large numbers are going to the foreign countries for education, and this figure is all the year rising rather than coming down. In case of China, it has reversed. Now, uh, Chinese students are preferring their own home country rather than going abroad. But still, the total number of Chinese students is still larger than Indian students. But as we have overtaken China in the field of total population, so that day is not far off when we will overtake China also in this number of students studying abroad. Uh, because as we all know that as far as economy is concerned, technology is concerned, in most of the field, China has gone far ahead of us. But this is the only in the field of demography, India is one by one taking over China. And total population, we all know that India has already overtaken China, and probably number of students, India will overtake China. Anyway, uh, apart then if you talk about the popular destination for higher education, then naturally the English speaking countries are in advantageous position. As we all know that English has emerged as the most popular global language, and in almost all countries, if apart from their mother tongue, if they are opting for any other language, so English comes first in their calculation. And so if they are learning any language other than their mother tongue, so most of the cases the next language is the English only. And since American language is English, so this is another factor in favor of English speaking countries. So large number of students are preferring English speaking countries, and here in this is English speaking countries, United States of America occupies the top positions. Then around a quarter of the global students are going to America only. And the next in that order comes United Kingdom, uh, and then comes Australia, and then Canada, then New Zealand. So these are the major English-speaking countries who are attracting the large number of overseas students for higher education. But that doesn't mean that France, Germany, etc., are far behind. The France is also a popular destination for higher education, and around 10% of the overseas students prefer France. The main countries who are sending their students for higher education in France is the Francophone Africa. If Anglophone uh, uh, of Africa or Anglophone, the Commonwealth countries are preferring English-speaking countries like US and the UK. Then Francophone Africa, which has been the colonies of Africa, and where these people are familiar with the French language, so they prefer France rather than English-speaking countries. So in this way, around 10% of global students are going to France. And Germany is also not far behind. Yeah. And in Middle East also, the Middle East, because of many regions, the Middle Eastern countries are also preferring Africa, of preferring France. So France is popular destination in Middle East, and Francophone Africa. And then Germany is also not far behind. Around 9% of the global students go to Germany for higher education. And Germany is popular destination for Central European and East European countries. So East European countries and Central European countries prefer neighboring Germany rather than they sending their students to America or England or other countries. And so this is about Germany. Even Russia is also not far behind. Russia also attracts students, and so Russia attracts students from the former Soviet Union, yeah, because all these 15 Soviet Union republic where Russian language was introduced, and these countries are familiar with the Russian language. So, and because of the geographical factor, because Russia being in vicinity of those countries, so they prefer Russian. They prefer Russia for higher education. So Russia is also attracting the sizable number of students. And then comes China. The China is also over the years attracting many foreign students. The China, as we all know, have the deep pocket. So China has created excellent infrastructure. So all the Chinese universities and institutions in higher learning, they have excellent infrastructure competing with the Western countries. And they are also offering the liberal fellowships, etc. The cost of education in China is also low. So, because of these factors, many African students, Asian students, they are preferring low cost education in China rather than going to America and Europe. And in these Chinese universities are also offering courses in English language. One Chinese professor met me and was telling me that they are having the Mandarin, they have their courses in Mandarin for the local Chinese student, but they have English medium education also for overseas students, particularly students coming from Africa, Asia, South Asia, etc. So China over the years is also emerging as a popular destination. As I said earlier, repeating it again, the cost is very low, and China is also offering liberal fellowship to many Asian African students. So these are the places where overseas students are going for higher education. Coming back to again to India, since my main focus is on India only. If you look at the the overseas students who are studying in India, so largest component is coming from our neighboring Nepal. More than a quarter students are coming only from Nepal. And then rest other South Asian countries are also contributing significantly to overseas students in India. Large number of students, around 10%, more than 10% are coming from Afghanistan. And we all know that Indian government is offering very liberal fellowships to the Afghan students. So Afghan students are also there. And then Bangladeshi students also come, Sri Lankans also come. So all the South Asian countries except Pakistan, they said a large number of students for higher education to India. So out of 50,000, the major share belongs to the South Asian country. Some European and yeah, and American students also coming. While talking about India, that what can be done to attract more students here? So here, India can offer courses in Sanskrit, yoga, Ayurveda, because these are the courses in which Westerners are interested or foreign countries are interested in. Yoga, as you all know, has become globally popular, and now the whole world is interested in yoga. And India being the land where yoga has originated, so naturally, in India can attract the students who are interested in yoga. Yoga can be one, and then is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the alternative medicine. So all those people who are getting disillusioned from allopathy, etc. So among the alternative medicines, uh, so Ayurveda is very significant, very important. So Ayurveda can also attract overseas students. And the third is the Sanskrit language, because Sanskrit, as we all know, that Sanskrit based on Panini grammar is most scientific language in the world. There is hardly any other scientific language than Sanskrit there. And it is being said that probably Sanskrit can be developed as a computer language, as a machine language, because there are some problem with all the languages, but the Sanskrit is the most scientific language, so we can market Sanskrit. The Germans particularly are interested in Sanskrit. Uh, a couple of years back, before Corona, one German professor came to learn Sanskrit because he was working on Arthashastra of Chanakya, and he wanted to read original Arthashastra of Chanakya. So read original text of Chanakya Arthashastra, he wanted to learn Sanskrit, and he came to India and came to my university, Banaras Hindu University, to learn Sanskrit there. But here he was shocked when he found that Sanskrit is being taught in Hindi and English. So he was interacting with me that I had come here to learn Sanskrit in Sanskrit, but here Sanskrit is being taught either in Hindi or English. So if he said, if I have to learn Sanskrit in Hindi and English, so why not learn Sanskrit in German? And that option is available in Heidelberg University. So he said, rather than wasting my time here in the learning Sanskrit in English, I will prefer to go back to my home country and I will enroll myself in Heidelberg and learn Sanskrit in German. So Sanskrit, the point I'm making, the Sanskrit can be marketed, Sanskrit can be used to attract them. So Sanskrit, Ayurveda, yoga, these are the strength and some other disciplines also. So here, by using the attraction of these subjects, probably we can succeed in attracting more students. Uh, Moving to other mobility, the second mobility, I said the mobility of the faculty. So higher education also includes the mobility of the faculty. And now you know the America is the leader in this field. The American power relies on many factors, and one factor is the migration. The Aslet Ellis and Farid Zakaria and many other scholars had said that this is the uh, uh, hidden strength of America. They have said this is the secret weapon of America, the migrants here. So their argument is the best and brightest of the world migrate to America. And this gives American economy many advantages there. And their argument is that America is leading in the field of innovation in technology field, not because of American citizen, but it is because of the best and brightest of the world are coming to America. So best Indian, best Chinese, best Koreans, best Japanese. So the best and brightest of all the countries, majority of them prefer to migrate to America, and this gives them strength here. So because they have the money, wealth, and they have excellent infrastructure, and now they get the best brain also, and they are using in then research and development and R&D, and that is why all the innovative technology is still being developed by America. Now China is trying to threaten American monopoly, but till this date they have not succeeded. You have American dream, but no parallel Chinese dream. So best and brightest migrate to America. The best Indian, the brightest Indian have also gone to America. You see the CEO of Google, CEO of Microsoft, CEO of many companies are Indians here. So they are the best brain. They were born in India, most of them educated in Indian education system in IITs and etc. But they have migrated to America, and instead of serving this country, they are serving America. So this is the American strength. China, and the same thing can be said about Chinese also. So many Chinese engineers, many Chinese managers, and many Chinese scientists, etc., were working in different American universities. China came up with a plan to attract the best and brightest researchers and faculty in American universities, and they offered the double salary. Whatever they're getting in America, they offered the double salary of America, and they provided the excellent infrastructure, the very attractive terms and conditions. So many Chinese researchers, scientists, faculty who were working in American universities, American think tanks, American research lab, they left America and came back to China. And now China is using their expertise because they were exposed to American work culture, American technology. So that experience acquired by Chinese in American universities, research lab and think tanks was very useful for them when they were working in Chinese lab, Chinese university, etc. So China definitely has benefited from it, and China is threatening America because of these uh, Chinese scientists, Chinese engineers, and Chinese doctors and Chinese researchers. India also tried to replicate China, but since unlike China, India is not having the deep pocket. It is difficult for India to provide the kind of infrastructure Indian researchers and scientists are having in America or Europe. That kind of infrastructure is difficult to create here and maintain here. The second problem is the India is also not in position to offer them that kind of attractive salary which China has done. The result has been that the response to Indian offer to Indian overseas faculty, researchers, scientists, etc., has not been that encouraging as it has been case of China. You see all the Nobel laureates, whether it is Venkat Raman, it's not so Venkat Raman. What was the Venkat Raman who got in? I'm forgetting his name. Except Amartya Sen, all the Nobel laureate, they were only Indian origin person, but they are not the citizen of India. Amartya Sen, though most of the time he is abroad, but he retains his Indian citizenship. He has not surrendered it. But spends considerable time in foreign countries, in foreign universities rather than in Indian universities in India. But he holds. But others, chemistry Nobel laureate, probably Venkat Ramani, what was his name? He and other Nobel laureate, they are working in American institutions. Even Hargobind Khurana also was American citizen. C.V. Raman was an Indian. He retained Indian citizen. C.V. Raman never left. So two Nobel laureates were exception. That C.V. Raman and Amartya Sen. Rest of the Nobel laureate who have connection with India, they have left Indian citizenship and became the foreign nationals. Anyway, so faculty is also moving from one place to other place. So this is another mobility, which in the globalization, when the higher education is globalizing, so now you have the faculty from one country to other country. The private universities in India also, like Asoka University and Srinagar University and some other university, they are also employing the foreign professors there. So now foreign faculty in Indian universities are also visible. They are in the very less number, but definitely they are there. So now it is not only one way that only Indians are going abroad for as a faculty. Some number of foreign faculties also coming to India. So this is another mobility. So student mobility is one, faculty mobility is second. The third mobility is the mobility of the institutions. So now institutions are also moving from one country to other country. This is another significant component of globalization of higher education. And in few education hub have emerged in the world. We are all familiar that the Doha, Abu Dhabi, these two have succeeded in creating an education hub in their country. So, and then in Southeast Asia, Malaysia has also created an education hub in Kuala Lumpur, uh, and Singapore, Hong Kong. So these are the places where education hub has been created. So in the education hub, these countries, the Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, United Arab Emirates, etc. So these countries have offered free land, very liberal financing, etc., and have invited the overseas universities to have their offshore campuses, to have their branch campuses. So, and this is a new development, and this is the product of globalization only. So, the education hub have certain advantages. Certain advantages in the same, as you all know, after 9/11, there had been Islamophobia. So Muslim students are not treated well in the Western countries because Western citizens are suspicious of all Arabs, all Muslims, because after the 9/11 attack. So in this atmosphere, so now many Arab Islamic students don't feel comfortable in alien culture in European and American university. So they prefer to have education in their home country, and so these education hub has emerged in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, etc. Doha also. So Doha, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. So these are the three places where education are. So many Muslim students from Arab countries, from Muslim countries, rather than going to Europe and America for higher education, they prefer to come in these education hubs, and they get their education in the branch campuses of European and American universities. In Kuala Lumpur also, many Australian and American and Canadian universities have opened their branch, and Singapore and Hong Kong, they have been quite successful in attracting foreign universities in their country there. So now these countries are attracting many students who, because of cost factor, who because of some cultural factors, who because of some religious factor, rather than going to Europe and America for higher education, they prefer to get themselves enrolled in these education centers where they are getting higher education in the foreign universities, the branch campuses of those universities. As far as India is concerned, uh, uh, the private universities have started their offshore campuses, and MIT is probably having the largest number of offshore campuses in the world. Manipal Group of Education, the Manipal is also having many branch campuses. They are having in Dubai, they are having in Kuala Lumpur, they are having in many other countries also. And then many Indian private universities like J.Y.S. Patil and MIT and Manipal and some others. So they are having the overseas campuses also. These overseas campuses are popular because they are in Gulf countries in Doha, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. The Indian population is more than the native population. Kuwait population, there is at 10 lakh people are living in Kuwait. Out of 10 lakh, 3 lakhs are Kuwaiti citizens, 7 lakh are foreigners. And among these 7 lakh, the largest component is from India. And the same is position in all the Gulf countries. So in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in United Arab Emirates, in Bahrain, etc. So these countries have less native population and more overseas population, and majority of them are from South Asia only, in majority from India. So when these Indian private universities are having their offshore campuses, Indian working in these countries, they prefer to send their children for education in Indian campuses rather than sending it to the local Arab schools, colleges, universities, or in the branch campuses of European and American universities. So, Indian universities, Indian private universities, the Indian private engineering college, medical college, etc., they have uh, a attractive market over there among the overseas Indians. Yeah, so they are quite successful over there, and their number is increasing day by day. So Indians are also Indian branches are also there. India, we all know that recently UGC has come up with a draft policy for foreign universities. And in this draft policy for foreign universities, India has liberalized the norms, relaxed the norms, the rules and regulations to attract foreign universities in this, to have their campuses in India. Uh, uh, the NEP talks about the only 100 leading universities will be allowed to have their campuses in India. But the draft regulation policy announced by Jagdish Kumar talks about giving permission to the 500 leading universities. So now 500 leading universities can have their campus in India. And there is one more further relaxation has been given. Earlier, the NEP said, and before that, all those bills and were introduced in the parliament because the talk of attracting the foreign universities to this country is not a new talk. It is not a new discussion. It is started from the uh, beginning of the globalizations or beginning of the Unicode, it started from the Narasimha Rao government. Yeah. So Narasimha Rao government was the first government which proposed and mooted this idea of having the foreign universities in this country. But all parties got united and they opposed that the foreign universities will not be allowed. And BJP was also there. BJP was also opposed to the foreign universities having their campuses in India. So, but and again, Vajpayee government also had this idea. Manmohan government also. Eventually, now instead of taking the parliamentary route, now the government has taken the had relied upon UGC and its chairman to announce the draft regulation policy. Yeah. So the draft regulation policy, the 500 universities have been allowed, and the second major concession has been given. Earlier proposals and which were discussed said that the foreign universities will not be allowed to repatriate their profit. So whatever profit they will generate, whatever revenue they will generate in this country, that will be reinvested in the creation of the better infrastructure, etc. So objective was that the foreign universities will not be allowed to make profit here and send back their profit to their home country. This condition was there that all the profit they had to reinvest in the education infrastructure in this country only. But now this draft policy announced by the UGC recently has said that now the foreign universities who are having their overseas branches in India, they will be allowed to repatriate their profit to their home country. So they're allowed to send back their profit. Now, this is the major concession. And even among the 500 leading universities, it is not necessary they have been ranked by the time and QS. Even the universities which has not been ranked, but if it has a global reputation, if it has a good reputation, so even those universities will also be allowed to have their campuses in India. So now the rules are very relaxed. Rules have become so easy that now any foreign university who are interested in having their overseas campuses in India, they can have it. So, so probably now a discussion is going on, and recently in Gujarat, GIFT that commercial center is coming up. So they have also created a group, and my vice chancellor Sudhir Jain is also part of that. He has also come from Gandhinagar, so he's also part of that. New IIT Gandhi director is also there. So 2-3 days back, this news has come. So GIFT has created a committee, and this committee will supervise the opening of the branch campuses of the leading universities of the world in Gandhinagar, in the GIFT Commercial Center, etc. So now the process is underway. Probably many major universities will have their campuses in the country. China has been quite successful in bringing the overseas campuses in its country. But China has adopted a different kind of model. China has always been insisting on partnership. So rather than allowing the American and European universities having their independent autonomous branch campus in China, they have insisted for partnership. So they have to enter into partnership and then they can have their branches there. So that Chinese universities can also learn from the Western practices, best practices, etc. And those practices can be adopted in their own country. So now it is quite common that almost all countries are allowing, have opened their borders. So now, in this globalized world, any country can have its branch campus in any country. Almost all the leading countries of the world have some kind of policy uh, to uh, to allow the overseas campus in the country. So the mobility of the institutions, and now one more thing I will be feeling in my duty when talking about that. The think tanks, these research centers. So many research centers, even all the corporate houses, they are having their R&D center in a different part of the world. Even in Hyderabad, Bangalore, you will find Microsoft, Google's, and others are having the research and development center. So it is not a teaching and research, but research is definitely happening over there. R&D centers they are happening. in different part of the world. So all corporate houses, the global corporate houses. So now the research labs now, and we all are familiar with the Wuhan research lab because the dangerous research which is happening in Atlanta in America on bats because of its being a dangerous. So Americans transferred it to the Wuhan laboratory. So the experiment on Wuhan was happening. The American, it was American research, but that research was not happening in Atlanta. It was closed down, and that was transferred to Wuhan. So there have been allegation also that this, if coronavirus is a artificial virus, and if it has been leaked from accidentally or deliberately leaked from Wuhan virology lab, so the America is also responsible in a way because that Wuhan virology lab was being funded by America. So American taxpayer money is also involved in that. So many things are coming there. So now, research laboratories, the R&D centers, universities, and many things have become truly global in nature. So now it is scattered all over the world. So this is the third mobility which I'm talking about. Now I'm coming to the fourth mobility. That is the mobility of the courses. So now the courses are also moving from one country to another country. We all are familiar now. We are having the twinning program. So the twinning program is increasingly getting popular. In the twinning program, two university get involved, and some portions is taught in one country and some portion is taught in another country. Suppose it is a 2 year degree course, so 1 year is taught in one country and another year is taught in another country. So now many countries have entered into various kinds of collaboration and they have signed various kinds of MOUs where students study for few semester, 2 semester, 3 semester, 4 semester in one country, and then for a couple of semester, depending upon their MOU, etc., they go abroad. So you see this many Indian private universities, their students like this Manipal, must be Srinagar, must be many private universities, Asoka. So they give this option that if it is a 3 year course, so 2 years they will study here, 1 year they will study abroad, or 1 year they will study here, 2 years study abroad. So this is called twinning program. In this twinning program, many times this degree is given by both the universities. Uh, the host country also gives the degree, and then wherever they go for a couple of semester or couple of years, so that university gives a separate degree, and sometimes they give the joint degree. So all things are in practice. Sometimes the only host university where the student get enrolled, they get the degree. Sometimes they jointly they give the degree, and sometimes they give degrees separately. 1 year for this university, another year for that university. So this training program has become quite popular. In this training program, now the courses are also moving from this country to that country. Uh, so and here recently another development has happened, and that must be discussed. That is the MOOC courses, massive online courses, MOOC. So massive online open courses, MOOC, is a new development here. So if you are talking about the two new development which has happened in this decade, uh, and that is the post Cold War development or post bipolar war development, or you can say the product of globalization. So this is the educational hub which I have already discussed, which emerged in the various parts of the world. And second major development is the massive online open courses. So now, and this massive online open courses has become so popular, and it is their popularity is rising. If you look at the data, so India is the second. India, in terms of number, is the second leading country where large number of the students are enrolled for various kinds of online courses. America is the leading country. So, and in every country, the number of students getting themselves enrolled in online courses is rising and rising. So many educationists have come to this conclusion, and they have predicted that probably the days of gradually coming to an end. And they have made this prediction that in the next 100 years, all the brick and mortar universities will come to an end. Only 10 leading brick and mortar universities will survive in this world, and rest will disappear from this planet. And they will be replaced by the massive online courses. Uh, now, the students will get themselves enrolled for technology enabled higher education. So I don't agree with this opinion that the brick and mortar universities will come to an end, because this is not the first time that the obituary of the brick and mortar universities has been written here. In 70s, when the correspondence course started, and then at that time also this some educationists also made this kind of prediction that probably in future these correspondence courses will replace the traditional universities. So, correspondence course will become norm. But we know the fate of the correspondence course. Correspondence course is there, but it has not been able to replace the brick and mortar university. It is the correspondence course is there, and the traditional universities are there. I think the same thing happened with the online courses also, the MOOC courses also. We will have one more alternative. We will have one more option. We will have brick and mortar universities. We will have correspondence courses, and we will have the distance. We have distance learning, and we will have these online courses also. Because in online courses, at the ease of our home, at our own convenience, at our comfort, we can learn, we can write exams, and we can get degree, etc. And that is already happening. But here some survey has been conducted, and the result has been encouraging for the traditional universities, because in all the surveys it has been found that the number of the students who have enrolled themselves for online courses, they have already taken some kind of degree from brick and mortar universities, traditional universities. So they have graduated from postgraduate and postgraduate. They have master's degree, bachelor's degree from traditional universities, and then after having those degrees, for certain extra skill, they have joined this online courses. So probably the students, rather than completing their education after getting the master's degree, etc., they will continue their study through online courses. They will join some diploma course, certificate course. They will learn some extra skill with these online courses. So these online courses will not be able to replace, will not put an end to the traditional universities, etc. But definitely, this is another options is available to the students, that as per their convenience of home, comfort of home, they can get the education. So these are the four different means, three different instruments through which the globalizations of higher education, the internationalization of higher education is happening here. Again, I will add more about this because I have been talking about the globalization of higher education. So there has been certain byproduct of the globalizations of higher education, internationalization of higher education. Because as I have said earlier many times, it is a market-driven process. So market is always conscious of quality. So quality assessment is there. Yeah. Market always relies upon ranking, always relies upon grading, always relying upon quality. So now a new kind of things have come up, which 20, 30 years back they were not there, and these have come with the globalizations of higher education, globalizations of education. So first thing is the ranking of the universities. So ranking of the universities, when I was reading it, I was surprised that to find out that Jiaotong University of Shanghai, a Chinese university, was the first to come with the academic ranking of the universities of the world. And Jiaotong University came out with this ranking in 2003. And the only parameter on which the universities were ranked, it was the all measurable data, and that was related to this number of patents filed, number of research paper published, number of citation. So a ranking was based on the number of citation, number of papers, number of PhDs, and number of patents, etc. So all these can be all these are quantifiable. All these can be easily measured. So they wanted to make it a scientific thing, etc. So only on the basis of the research output the universities were ranked. So this ranking came in 2003. But immediately after that, another organization jumped into this ranking business. So and this was QS and Time. So clearly Simon and Time. Time is the so they came out with the joint ranking of the university. It was a joint effort. So they collaborated with each other and came out with a global ranking. From 2004 to 2010, QS and Time came out with the joint ranking. In 2010, these two separated. QS now bringing out separately its ranking, and Time is bringing out separately its ranking. So, so, so here, these two have tried to broaden these parameters, yeah, and try to make it more credible, because their argument was that research output can't be the only criteria for measuring the rank of a university. So they, to broaden it, they brought in other factors also. So some weightage was given to teaching also, the graduate outcome also, and learning experience also. So they tried to make it broad based, and the contribution of research output is still dominant. 30% to 40% was assigned to research output only, and in the remaining, the teaching, learning, infrastructure, and other things were graduate outcome, etc. These three factors were also there. So this ranking of the institutions is another development, and that is the closely related to the globalization. Along with the ranking, there is another quality assessment. So we have in India, and about ranking further, since Indian universities were did not find a place in that Time ranking, US ranking, so India came up with its own ranking, and it is called NIRF, National Institution Ranking Framework, so that Indian universities can also be ranked. Because in top 100, 200, probably there is no Indian institutions there. And sometime Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore gets position, and sometime it is thrown out. Some IITs and so. But by and large, the Indian universities are not in the leading universities of the world. So since we were not ranked by the global ranking agencies, so the government of India came up with its own ranking framework. Now we have NIRF. So NIRF is ranking top 100 universities of this country. And then this accreditation and this quality assessment came in. So here, the government of India has the NAC, and we all know the NAC is nowadays NAC is in the region for all wrong regions. We all are familiar what happened in Baroda. And yesterday I was surprised that when Merit University also got A plus plus. JNU has not got A plus, but Chaudhary Charan Singh University Merit has got A plus plus. And my own home university, hometown university, and your course coordinator Rahul Tripathi's home university Gorakhpur has also got A plus plus, and Lucknow has also got A plus plus. Now I think that now next would declare that all UP universities are A plus plus. So so now there is a big question mark over the NAC accreditation, NAC grading and assessment. Anyway, these are the controversial things. I will not discuss about that. But the way now this all UP universities, and yesterday Chaudhary Charan Singh got A plus plus. So and JNU has not that ranking. You are associated with the Goa University. I'm pretty sure the Goa University also must not be having the A plus plus. But these universities have, even my own university BHU is also not having A plus plus, but Chaudhary Charan Singh Meerut and Lucknow University and Deen Dayal Upadhyay University, Gorakhpur University, they have got A plus plus. But this grading, assessment, accreditations, all are the market driven thing, and this is product accumulations. Personally, I'm not against ranking of the universities, but my feeling is that the institutions should not be crazy after ranking. They should not run after the ranking, and they should not adopt the dubious means to get the better ranking. Now, I have seen all the university administrators, the university leadership, rather than focusing on the teaching and research in their university and their colleges, they are focusing more on generating the data, and most of the data are also not reliable data. They are also questionable data, since they, if they have been somehow able to generate the right kind of data, they will get the better ranking. And I was surprised to know this thing that many people are offering consultancy services also, that you take their consultancy and they will help you in getting the better ranking by NAC. And most of the people who are doing this consultancy, in fact, they are the person who are closely involved with the NAC assessment team, etc. So conflict of interest is already there. So now the government of India, the education minister must look into this issue, that how come the same persons are providing consultancy for better ranking, and those persons who are providing consultancy, they're also part of the NAC team. Yeah. So these should be identified and should be blacklisted also. So now this is a market. So in market, everything can be bought and sold. So now NAC. Okay, I will stop here because after all, NAC is our own institutions created by the government of India. So leaving this thing here, but this really is very surprising, and this really is the NAC grading has also created a lot of suspicion among all. My point is that if you are focusing on teaching and research rather than chasing after this thing and adopting the unethical means to get the better ranking, all the university administrators should focus on teaching. If teaching and research improve, the ranking itself will improve. Now these rankings are also questionable. Now the question arises: what is the use of these rankings here? So as per se, I'm not opposed to ranking. Ranking is also important here, because ranking is important in the sense and in this age, because ranking provides many kind of benefit. The first benefit, if suppose parents want to send their children for higher education to the university, so it is not feasible for the parents to visit all the universities, find out the quality of the universities. So for these kind of parents, the ranking becomes a convenient thing. They can look at the ranking of the colleges and the universities, and can take an informed decision to send their children for higher education. So here ranking is important. Second important purpose of ranking is, now many corporate houses are giving liberal funding to the educational institutions. Suppose any corporate house, suppose Ajim Premji Foundation, suppose Infosys and Narayan Murthy wants to give, yeah, any other corporate house wants to give their money to higher education to improve the quality of teaching and research in that university. So if they want to give the money, but every corporate houses, everyone who is giving the money is also interested in this thing, that that money given to that university should be spent well. It should not be misused. It should not be misspent. It should be spent well. So for this, the corporate houses can look at the ranking of the universities where the utilization of the resources is better than others. So here also ranking becomes useful. So ranking as per se is not bad. Only bad thing is that unethical means should not be adopted here, and the university administration should not be obsessed with the ranking. Uh, so now, as in the market also, we have seen the same thing. Yeah. In 2008, when great economic crisis happened, this economic crisis, financial economic crisis in 2008, global economic crisis. In this time also, the question was raised about the credibility of the ranking of the market things here. Lehman Brothers, which collapsed, which was ranked very highly, an investment in the Lehman Brothers was enjoying the safest grade. Yeah. All the global ranking agency, the Moody and others, they have given very good ranking to these Lehman Brothers and many financial and banking institutions. But you know these banks collapse like anything. Many companies which are rated very highly, and even in the accountancy also, in the auditing also, because these are the negative side of the market also. So as a ranking of different companies is also manipulated, the grading is manipulated, and the same thing is happening here also. So whatever was happening in the share market, in the stock market, in the investment, etc., the same thing is happening in the education field also. So as many steps have been taken to improve the ranking of the companies, because in America also a question was like that these highly ranked institutions by different ranking agencies like Moody and others, and and their ranking was so flawed, so it was so wrong that those institutions. The same thing is happening in the education field also. So here my point is that we should not be too much obsessed with the ranking, with the grade, etc. Uh, all of you future are future leaders also. Some of you must be holding a administrative position in your university, or in future you might become an administrator in your university system, etc. So while being in the administration, you should be you should try for better ranking, but one should always avoid the unethical practices in getting the better ranking, etc. So these are the things which I wanted to discuss about the globalizations of higher education, and I will conclude by the Indian thing, that now India aims again to emerge as a Vishwaguru, and India will emerge as a Vishwaguru by improving the quality of teaching, learning, and research in our own university. The overseas campuses of leading universities of the world will not make India a Vishwaguru. If you want to regain the status of Nalanda and Tassila, etc., so you have to create your own brand. You have to create your own universities which are capable of competing with the best in the world. They are capable of creating with Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, Harvard, etc. Only then India can become a Vishwaguru. Only, and not by bringing many overseas universities in this campus, because these universities who will come in this campus, their objective will not be to improve the quality of teaching, learning, and research in this country. Their only and only objective will be to exploit the largest Indian market, because India right now is the largest market. India's population is very large, and and here there exists a large market for any higher education institutions. So we have to improve our own universities, the BHU, JNU, your own Goa University, and Central University Hyderabad. We have many good universities, IITs and AIM. So these institutions uh, can be the teaching, learning, research, everything should be improved in these. And these institutions, the IITs, the AIM, BHU, JNU, etc., should be brought at par with the global universities. Only then India will become a Vishwaguru, and India will regain its old position of which India enjoyed in the ancient time. Thank you so much. With this, I have concluded. Thank you. Over to organizers.